What's up, man? Today we're diving into something critical, the emotional pillar of divorce recovery. If you're a man over 50 navigating the aftermath of divorce, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's that anvil heavy feeling in your chest, the mental fog that just won't lift. But here's what I learned the hard way: your mental health isn't just part of your recovery, it is your recovery. Everything else builds on this foundation. So let's talk about how we forge that unbreakable mental strength for when life has thrown you into the fire. When divorce hits, you're essentially experiencing psychological trauma. Let's call it what it is. Your brain is in survival mode. And before we talk about thriving, we need to address the immediate emotional bleeding. Mental health becomes job one. This isn't optional, brothers. You need to triage the shock, find solid ground for your emotions, and rally whatever forces you have available. In those first weeks and months, I felt like I was drowning. My identity as a husband was gone. My daily routines, they were shattered. And my sense of future was a complete blank. Section one, mental triage. Here's what saved me: creating a psychological safe space. For you, this might mean setting boundaries with your ex, limiting exposure to triggering situations, or finding immediate emotional outlets that don't cause more damage. Remember, warriors throughout history, they knew when to retreat, when to regroup, and recover before returning to battle. This isn't weakness, this is just tactical wisdom. Section 2, daily mental training. Once you've stopped the initial bleeding, it's time to rebuild your mental armor. This happens daily, not just occasionally, guys. Every morning, I committed to 3 practices that became my daily mental training ground. First, I engaged in mindful meditation. This wasn't anything fancy. It was just 10 minutes of focusing on my breath. It's kind of like you breathe in, you concentrate on your breathing. You breathe out, you're still concentrating on your breathing. You keep doing that repeatedly, and it takes practice, but you gain basically a sense of calm and wellness. I recommend looking at some videos on how to do mindful meditation because it can be really, really helpful to calm your nerves and settle your mind. But after 10 minutes of focusing on my breath, acknowledging the negative thoughts about failure, and then letting them pass without judgment. This isn't about becoming a monk. It's about training your mind not to be hijacked every painful thought that you have. Second, prayer or intentional gratitude. Whether you're religious or not, expressing thanks for what remains creates neurological pathways that counteract depression. Third, touching base with safe people. Now listen carefully, guys. You need at least 1 or 2 people you can be completely honest with. Not people who bash your ex. These aren't people who are drinking buddies, but people who listen to you when you're in a dark place, and people that won't try to fix you with generic advice either. Think of this practice as forging basic strength into your mental armor. You wouldn't expect physical strength without consistent training. You also wouldn't expect emotional resilience to develop overnight. You have to work on it, and it works the same way. Consistent training. Section 3, journaling as a blueprint. Now let's talk about your battle plans. Warriors, they need a strategy, not just strength. I recommend keeping what I call a forward journal. A forward journal isn't just emotional vomit, though there's place for that. This is your blueprint for reconstruction. In my journal, I documented the rational reasons behind my divorce decision. I documented the vision for my future or who I'm becoming. Documented the negative patterns I needed to break. And also, I documented the small victories along the way. This is what I documented regularly in my journal. This journal, it'll become your personal roadmap when emotional fog comes in. On my worst days, I would read my own words and they would remind me why I took this path. Though painful, it was necessary. The act of writing also forces clarity. You know, when you're swirling thoughts become concrete words on a page, you gain power over them. You begin to see patterns in your thinking that need rewiring. The act of writing forces clarity. Section 4, Anti-Trigger Protocol. Every warrior has vulnerabilities, and knowing yours is critical intelligence. Let's develop what I would call an anti-trigger safety net. We all have emotional triggers after divorce. That surprising text from your ex, seeing old photos, mutual friends who choose sides, being ostracized at church, or even holidays that highlight your new solo status. The key here, guys, is recognizing your specific triggers and having predetermined responses all ready to go. Okay, number one, identify your top 5 emotional triggers. This is going to take some work and it won't be easy because you got to be honest with yourself. Number 2, create a specific response plan for each trigger. Number 3, practice these responses before you're in the emotional storm. For example, when my ex would send me text messages about things that weren't urgent, I set them aside for a specific time when I was mentally prepared to deal with these things. But the point is, I was mentally prepared. I was ready. I wasn't responding to the text or responding to her requests. When social media started the comparison spiral, I had 3 ready to go activities to redirect my attention. This isn't avoidance. This is strategic engagement on your terms when you're mentally ready to handle it. Section 5, rewiring chemical patterns. Now let's get practical about your brain chemistry. Divorce recovery isn't just emotional, it's also neurochemical. First, I recommend practicing intentional gratitude daily or even hourly if you have to. This isn't fluffy advice. This is neurological training. Gratitude literally produces serotonin and dopamine. These are chemicals your brain desperately needs during recovery. Every morning, write down 3 specific things you're grateful for. Make them detailed and present focus. These can be mundane things that really it's like, I'm really grateful for this. But what you're doing is when you're feeling deep depths of gratitude, the serotonin is released in your brain. I would, even if I couldn't come up with anything, I would just feel a sense of gratitude for having a reliable vehicle to go to work, for the 1 or 2 friends that I had that I could count on, for someone who called me the day before. These are simple things you're grateful for having enough money to buy groceries. Simple things that you can express gratitude. But the key is really deeply feeling the gratitude so that you're releasing the serotonin in your brain. Next, let's talk about the negative dopamine triggers that masquerade as comfort. These things I'm talking about are mindless social media scrolling, pornography, of course, rage baiting news channels, and also substance abuse. These provide quick chemical hits and also leave you more depleted afterwards. I'm not saying eliminate everything enjoyable. Can't do that. I'm saying be strategic about your brain chemistry. Take action with your brain chemistry. Replace these hollow rewards with healthier dopamine sources, such as physical exercise, accomplishing small goals, social connection, and learning new skills. This is how you regain rewiring your neurological patterns for substantial strength rather than temporary escape. Section 6, replacement therapy. Speaking of escapes, let's address them specifically. Okay? During my divorce, I found myself binging on Netflix, doom scrolling news sites, and having just one more drink with alarming frequency. These aren't inherently evil, but they become problematic when they're primary coping strategies. The key is replacement, not just removal. Nature abhors a vacuum, and your emotional life is really no different. Okay, for me, that meant taking up guitar after 30 years of wanting to learn. It also meant me finally learning chess. You know what? I'm still terrible at chess, but I'm getting better. It also meant me reconnecting with gardening. And there is something profoundly healing about growing tomatoes. Find activities that engage your mind, challenge you appropriately, and ideally connect you with others. Creative outlets are particularly powerful for processing emotions without directly focusing on them, such as painting or drawing or even building birdhouses, for instance. Your mind needs rest, yes, but also recreation and creation. Section 7 is going to be professional support. Now, here's a big one. Finally, let's address the support we often resist most: professional help. All right, guys. Men of our generation, we were taught that seeking help means what? It means weakness. All right. That can be anything but the truth. But I'm telling you, warrior to warrior, understanding when you need reinforcements is a sign of tactical intelligence, not weakness. Therapy isn't about being crazy or weak. It's about having an expert guide you to help navigate unfamiliar emotional territory. It's about decompressing difficult emotional issues. It's about decompressing things you don't even understand but are swirling around in your mind. Would you try to remove your own appendix? I would hope not. Then why try to perform complex emotional surgery on yourself? A good therapist will give you the following things. They give you objective perspective when your vision is clouded. They can help give you tools specific to your personal challenges. They give accountability in your healing process, and they're also a safe space to process emotions without judgment. Places you can get therapy are often EAP through your employer, which is an employee assistance program. You can get therapy through churches. You can get therapy through social work organizations and places in the community that offer wellness. There's also paid therapy, of course. I personally resisted therapy for months, thinking I could power through it. That decision unfortunately cost me progress and time that I can never get back. All right, brothers, rebuilding your mental emotional life after divorce is not a luxury. It's the foundation of everything else that we're talking about here. Financial recovery, physical health, new relationships, they all depend on you doing this internal work first. You wouldn't build a house on a cracked foundation. Don't try to build your new life on unaddressed emotional wounds either. The forge is hot right now. The hammering, it hurts. But this is where your new strength is being created. Every blow that feels like it is breaking you is actually reshaping you into something stronger. If this video resonates with any of you, hit subscribe and join this community of men who are doing this hard work together. Next week, we're going to tackle a second pillar, which is relationships and how they help us heal. Until then, remember, you're not starting over, you're starting from experience, and that makes all the difference.